In our hyperconnected, often really confusing world, we're all looking for a better way to cut through the noise. But what if some of the most powerful advice isn't new at all? What if it actually comes from a message that's nearly 2,000 years old? Okay, let's dive into this and see how some ancient wisdom holds a stunningly relevant framework for our modern lives. So here it is, a short, direct command from an ancient text. Now, on the surface, it sounds almost mystical, doesn't it? Like something out of a fantasy novel. You hear words like darkness and light. But this isn't about some cosmic battle between good and evil. It's about something much, much more practical.
And that's the real question, right? How do we take this seemingly old school advice and actually apply it to our careers, our communities, our digital lives? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down right now.
First things first, let's define our terms. When this ancient text talks about darkness, it's really easy to get caught up in thinking about it in a mystical sense. But for our purposes today, we're going to treat it as a powerful metaphor for a very real, very human thing that affects all of us every single day.
So here's a working definition for us. Think of darkness as any action or any idea that needs secrecy to survive. It's the environment that lets bad ideas, deception, and corruption grow, simply because no one's really looking at them. It is pretty much the exact opposite of transparency. Let's make this real. Misinformation, right? It spreads like wildfire when no one checks the source. Hidden agendas in a business negotiation only work if they stay, hidden. Corruption absolutely relies on secrecy. And even things like willful ignorance or social apathy, that's a form of darkness too. It's a personal choice to stay in the dark, to not look a problem straight in the eye.
Okay, now, what's so interesting about this passage is that it doesn't just say, hey, avoid bad stuff. It gives a two-part action plan. It's a whole strategy. So let's look at the first part and see how this all builds. So the first command is all about you. It's an internal move, a personal boundary. It's about deciding where you, as an individual, are going to stand before you even think about trying to change anything or anyone else. This is the foundation. It's that quiet, firm decision not to pass on the gossip, not to laugh at the harmful joke, not to just look the other way when you know something's wrong. It's about refusing to be a part of it. It's about pulling your energy and your silent approval away from the things that thrive in the shadows. So you see, we have two very different actions here. The first one is kind of passive. It's about not doing something, and the focus is all on your own integrity. But that second action, that's where things get active. The focus shifts from just protecting yourself to actually demanding public accountability. And this is the part of the advice that's often the hardest, because let's be honest, it takes courage. It moves us from just being a bystander to being an active participant in creating transparency. It is so important to get this distinction right. Bringing things to light doesn't mean picking fights or attacking people. It just means exposing an idea or an action to the open air. It's about getting rid of the shadows so that something can be seen clearly for exactly what it is. So what does this look like in the real world? It can start super simple. At work, it might just be asking a clarifying question in a meeting when a decision feels a little murky. In your online world, it's taking literally 30 seconds to fact-check that viral story before you share it. When you know something is true, you share it responsibly. In your own life, you become a champion for transparency. These are the practical tools of illumination. So we have these two commands. First, don't play along. Second, expose. But why is that second step so critical? I mean, why not just quietly disagree and walk away? This is why. This simple metaphor, which people often credit to Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis, it just captures the whole philosophy perfectly. Just like sunlight can kill germs, public scrutiny and transparency can totally neutralize harmful ideas and actions. Think about it. A lie can't survive when the truth is standing right there next to it. A corrupt practice becomes impossible to continue when everybody can see it happening. Social apathy? It's a lot harder to maintain when the real-world consequences are made visible for everyone. Things that are worthless or harmful, they need secrecy to survive. You take that away, and their power just evaporates. And this is where it all clicks into place. It's not one or the other. You start with your own integrity, refusing to participate. That gives you a solid ground to stand on. Then you move to public action, fostering transparency. One without the other is incomplete, but together,
They create this really powerful, ethical framework for making a real difference. So, the final thought here really turns the question back to you. This ancient advice isn't just a theory, it's a challenge. In your workplace, in your community, in your own life. What's an idea or an action that's been allowed to fester in the dark? And maybe more importantly, what's one small step you can take to start bringing it into the light?